Hi, hello, howdy, how are ya? You all are looking incredible this evening. Look at you, you're looking fabulous, and you look so beautiful, and you look barely presentable, honey. Now I'm just kidding. Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Kitty Litter ATX, and I am an old drag queen. How old are you, you may ask? Well, I'm so old that my first lip sync was to the Big Bang, y'all. I'm so old that I used to have to fight off the pterodactyls for my tips. I'm so old that the first stage that I performed on was Wells Fargo because it was a stagecoach, y'all. I'm so old that when I was a child, rainbows were in black and white, y'all. Now, I know many of you may be asking, well, how did you go from where you were to where you are today, this glamorous creature that we see before us? Yeah, I'm sure that's what you're asking. Well, to answer that question, we have to travel back in time to when I was just a wee little sprout. Now, y'all know I was born and reared in the South more than once. Well, actually, it was south of Van Nuys Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. When I was a baby, y'all, I thought my name was Saltine because I grew up in a cardboard box surrounded by a bunch of other white salty crackers. My parents hated me, y'all. My bath toys were an electric toaster and a radio. And, the parents used to drive me by the PetSmart and tell me that it was the hospital where I was born, y'all. Where most kids would ask for Christmas for a pet, and they might get, a puppy or a kitten. I got a tumbleweed, y'all. I named it Spot. It was actually a lot of fun to play with until one sad, fateful day when it was very windy and I had decided to play fetch with Spot. I threw the stick and Spot rolled after it and just kept going, y'all. It's just like, come back, Spot, come back, come back. Oh, it traumatizes me to this day to think about it. At any rate, my parents, as I said, they really didn't care for me, but I can't fault them for that, y'all, because they probably didn't know what to do with a child who preferred to play with dolls than to work on cars, In retrospect, if they had just bought me a Barbie dream van, we both could have been very happy. Barbie, don't worry, girl, I'm going to get this tire fixed and we going to hire you to the Malibu Dream House in time for cocktails with Ken and G.I. Joe, who incidentally are dating, by the way. My parents just didn't know how to handle all that, so they had decided that in order to straighten me out, as it were, that they were going to have me to join the military, y'all, because then it would make a man out of me. I don't know if it made a man out of me, y'all, but it certainly put quite a few of them into me, if you know what I'm saying. Actually, that's not true at all. The true story is that I was so far in the closet when I was in the service that I could see Narnia, y'all. To this day, I still have a fondness for Turkish delight, and the candies are good as well. But going back to my military days, I had friends of mine who would tell me, and keep in mind that back then, you could be arrested in the military if they found out that you was a homosexual. So I was very concerned, but friends of mine told me that when they went out to the bars that there was these undercover agents that the military would send out. But luckily for all concerned that they weren't very good at their job. Apparently what they would do is saunter into the bar like so. I say, "Hey there, I think you looking kind of cute tonight. Do you share my fondness for that Sandy Lopper?" By the way, what installation do you work at and who's your company commander? And my friends would be like, okay, first of all, let's get it straight, Queen. The last Sandy that we cared about was Olivia Newton-John's character in Grease, okay? And secondly, you need to brush up on your pop stars and your sense of fashion because those poly blends, they went out in the 70s. You ain't fooling nobody. Now move along, girl, okay? You know, after 10 years, 10 long years of living my life in the closet, I had decided that I wanted to get out of the service and move somewhere that was accepting and loving and open to my lifestyle choices. So I decided to move to Texas. Yes, that is the joke, y'all. And while it was difficult, it did make it easier to come out to my parents. And I'll tell you why. I called up my family on the phone and I said, listen, I've decided that I'm going to move to the Lone Star State, y'all. And my daddy, I'll never forget it, he said, ain't nothing there but steers and queers. Which one are you? And I said, without missing a beat, well, you don't see no horns on me, do you, Daddy? A moo, a moo. You know, and my mother, of course, she was just distraught over the whole thing. She was like one of those people that like to lay on the guild and stuff and turn the spotlight on herself. So she was like, oh, I don't understand any of this. Where did I go wrong? You know, and I felt she was deserving of an answer, so I replied to her, do you remember that time back in the late 70s when you bought me that Donna Summer album? Yep. I blame you, and I blame Donna Summer. That's why I'm like this. She still hadn't recovered, and I still love Donna Summer. Okay? So, I moved to Texas and I had decided that I was going to get a job as a rancher. Unfortunately, Miss Kitty had a problem keeping her calves together, y'all, so that was a short-lived career choice. After that, I had decided that the only thing for me to do was to work in the gay bathhouse. Now, I don't know how many of y'all out there have ever been to a gay bathhouse. And for y'all straight folks, you just gonna have to like follow along or skip this portion of the show because basically what a gay bathhouse is well, it's the great equalizer, y'all. It doesn't matter if you are a banker or a CEO or a janitor, what you are. When you walking around with nothing but a towel on that three people have probably spilled bodily fluids on at some point in the day, it all balances out, y'all. So what also happens in the gay bathhouse is at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't care what you identify with, whether you say that you butch or femme or somewhere in the middle or whatever, that's your business, okay? But I'm going to tell you, at 3 o'clock in the morning, when that thumping Whitney Houston Hex Hector remix of her greatest hits comes on, everybody queens out. Yes, queen, yes, girl. Work, work. And they walking down the hallway. Now I gotta tell y'all something else. When you go to the bathhouse, you realize that when it comes to sex, that men can be as finicky as cats. Okay, because they walking down looking into the different rooms and they're like, no, I don't think this one will do. I prefer Fancy Feast. No, not this one. I was looking for something with a view of the ocean. And you know, meanwhile, you got the people that are in the rooms and they're sitting there going, hey, look, I just had my back deck redone at seat 6 comfortably. Come on in. Join the party. You know, so there was all that going on. As for me, I was one of those people, I would go fully clothed into the sauna, y'all. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because I'm a multitasker and I'm lazy. Not only could I have fun, but I also came out steamed and pressed for the next day. So it was fabulous. Okay, so after working at the Bathhouse, I decided at some point that I was going to become a drag queen. Yes, my drag career has gone on for decades, and people say, Kitty, why did you become a drag queen in the first place? Well, I guess I just didn't get enough pain and humiliation and bullying in high school. I didn't feel like I got my share. I needed more, you know what I'm saying? So, yes, I became a drag queen. It started at the height of the AIDS epidemic. No jokes about that, y'all. And it ended with coronavirus, you know. So I guess you could say it's gone from one disaster to another disaster. I'm kind of like the Irwin Allen of drag queens, you know. It's just one disaster movie. At any rate, at some point in my drag career, I auditioned for a show that some of y'all might have heard of. It was called Camp Kiki, and it was a reality show that was set out in the woods, y'all. Think RuPaul's Drag Race meets Deliverance, okay? It's kind of that thing. And a lot of times afterwards, I made all the way to the finals. Yes, you can applaud. Thank you, thank you. But the questions that I would get asked most by the reporters, both of them, were the following. They would say, did you all really get along as well as it looked like on the show? Well, the truth of that is we got along swimmingly, me and all the campers. I say the word swimmingly because that describes how I had to get back to shore every time the other campers would push me off the edge of the pier into the lake, y'all. The draggy dog paddle is a real thing, okay? So then people would also ask me, they would say, well, Kitty, were there any romantic liaisons that went on out there? Listen, y'all, when you out in the woods and your only companions for 2 weeks are a bunch of other drag performers, the hoes in the trees start to look good, y'all. So I, in fact, had an affair with a Dutch elm who I was quite taken with. At some point, though, I had to break it off with them because this family of squirrels had nested inside there. And I was like, look, if I'm going to date something with animals all up inside, I'm just going to go with Richard Gere, okay? Allegedly, okay? I don't know what that man get up to. That's his business. But Camp Kiki, yes, it was an amazing experience. And I'm very grateful to all the fans out there who have supported the show, both of you. And also to the Sugar Baker twins and to my Camp Kiki family. Big love to you. After this, I had went on what they call a drag cruise, y'all. I don't know if y'all know this, but I got my start on the drag cruises doing shows and whatnot. Oh yes, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, the Titanic. I went down before it did, y'all. And I don't know if y'all also heard this, but the Princess Cruise Lines recently got fined several $1,000s for throwing trash overboard. And listen, I don't even know why, because if they had asked me, I'd have left on my own accord, okay? You know, but there was that. So I was invited on this drag cruise, and everyone was there. It was very nice. All the big celebrities, Pandora Box, Darian Lake, Coco Jam Holiday, Party Favors, Diana Firecast, Marie. Yeah, it was all the showbiz biggies, y'all, and I was there too. At any rate, we were going on our way to Mexico. And when we got to Mexico, I was very excited to perform, as I always am, out of country, because then if I bomb, I can just blame it on the language difference. They just didn't understand what I was talking about, y'all. I was really good. It was just that they didn't understand what I was talking about. But we went to Puerto Vallarta, and to my pleasant surprise, when I did my number, it was to thunderous applause. People were laughing, they were clapping, they were just like all about it. And I felt like, yes, you really killed it, Kitty. So when I got done, I got on the phone with my agent and I said, wow, gave them a rundown of what went on. And they said, well, Kitty, I don't want to burst your bubble or anything, honey, but I don't know if you happen to notice, in Mexico, there's like a pharmacy literally on every street. So it might not have been the fact that you were like really good or anything, but it might have actually been the fact that they were all just high as hell. I thought about this for a minute and I felt a little hurt and put out. And then I said, listen, book my next gig for Amsterdam. A girl got to play to her strengths, y'all. So there is that. I don't know how many of you have heard this, but I do live in Austin, Texas, which is kind of like the button fly of the Bible Belt. And at some point during my drag career, I encountered some controversy. Yes, the religious right had decided that Miss Kitty Litter ATX was not fit to read stories to children in this thing called Drag Queen Story Time, okay? And it was started off with me being ambushed by the show InfoWars. Hell, I was such a frequent subject of InfoWars shows, I started to send Alex Jones a wig myself, because obviously she was obsessed, okay? We could call her Alexia Jones. At any rate, yeah, so then it went from that to religious right-wingers sending me death threats. I had attacks. My social media platform got doxxed. People took pictures out of context. They called me everything from a prostitute to a witch to a Satanist to a cannibal who cooks children. And you know, that's just ridiculous, y'all. Because everybody knows when it comes to children, you gotta bake those little critters at 360 degrees until they're crispy and tender, you know. So, yeah, but it was rather traumatizing to me. In fact, it got so bad with the death threats that I had to get APD and the FBI involved. This is true tea. And I had been misrepresented in the media and all that. So I was just like very frustrated. But I decided to just keep doing what I do and not let nobody stand in my way. So then I went to this one event, and I have been pretty good about holding everything in, internalizing it and whatnot. But this one Bubba one day, he done tested me. And you know what happens when drag queens get tested, y'all? So this guy, he looks at me and he said, drag queens reading to children. What would our founding fathers say? Y'all probably don't know how to read anyway. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hold my drink. I'm about to have an episode up in here. Oh, Lord Jesus. Jesus, help me, help me, help me. I'm going to have an episode. All right. I stood back. I looked at this gentleman. And this is what I had to say to him. First of all, what would our founding fathers say? Let's think about it for a minute. George Washington, with some breeches on, some white tights, a little slight heel going on, a white powdered wig, a brocaded jacket, you know, powdered face with just a touch of rouge to bring out the color, some wooden veneers going on. What would he say? He'd say, you better work, bitch. That's what he'd say. And furthermore, why don't you go take your ignorant country self and go sit down somewhere and don't come unless I call for you. Drag queens don't know how to read? Girl, you just being read, okay? Bye-bye now. You know, my career, it's been long and lustrous and full of the mediocrity which has made me the fabulous star that I am today. And I appreciate all of you, all of the fans out there. You know, people have asked me, they say, Kitty, these are trying times. And Lord knows what could be more trying than me coming down with the coronavirus. Now, I don't know if y'all heard this, but just recently, yeah, I got sick with the COVID, y'all. Miss Ronick finally came calling the Miss Kitty store. And leave it to me to jump out on the bandwagon after something stopped trending, you know. But it is what it is. So I did get sick. When I started feeling bad, I had called up a friend of mine on the phone and I said, "Hey, I don't think that I'm feeling so good. What do you think? Do you think that it could be COVID?" And they asked me about the symptoms. They said, "Well, are you vomiting frequently?" I said, "Well, yeah, but I've been watching Texas Republicans on Fox News, so I just thought that was a natural reaction. And then they asked me if people had stayed 6 feet away from me. And I was like, well, when you look like this, people are automatically going to stay 6 feet away from you, no matter if there's a pandemic going on or not. Then they asked me if I had lost my sense of taste. And I said, look at my outfits. Doesn't that question kind of answer itself? I never had any to begin with, so how the hell should I know? But yeah, so I did get sick, and I just want to express my sincere thanks to all the people who reached out to me, who helped me to get back on my feet, who donated either publicly or privately. A very special thanks to Harry James Hansen and to Kevin Wilhelmina, who spearheaded a campaign on my behalf. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody for all the well wishes. It's certainly appreciated. Before I go, I did want to touch on the fact that in these trying times, we've got floods, we've got fires, there's all kinds of stuff going on. There's global warmings everywhere. The polar ice caps is melting. And people have asked me, they say, well, Kitty, is it going to be the end of the world? And I'm like, what do I look like? Psychic Friends Network? How the hell should I know? But if it is the end of the world, I hope that there's a zombie apocalypse, y'all, because I'd like to see our Texas governor become a meal on wheels. Y'all have been so much fun to hang out with today. Thank you for your